Hello everybody, I'm Andy Phillips and this is Iron Concepts number 67. Now of course, you should wake up every day committed to advancing and being the best at whatever that day's task is. If it's a restful Saturday, then rest the hell out of it. And if it's a crazy insane Monday full of chaos, then you need to be a pillar of order. There's no question about it. Everything we do, no matter how little or how small, from how we pick up a hammer to how we turn the lights on in the shop in the morning, it can all be improved upon. And we all always should strive to do better at the big things and the little things. But in our trade, many of us work alone or without a whole lot of people around, and it's easy to get complacent. We end up only conquering the mountain ahead, only hiking it, not ever trying to run up it, only focusing on the task at hand and learning only what we need to be able to accomplish that. Realistically, in about every aspect of the trade, we all do good, but we always could be better, and that's why having community is so important. So while our community may not be necessarily in your face, it may not be in your shop every day, you can be isolated, but you don't have to look very far to find other people who are doing what you do. And they may not be people who are doing exactly what you do, but they're doing something similar, and hopefully they're doing it in a completely different way. So for me, every morning I open up my computer and I look into Facebook, or every time that I open up the latest Anvils ring or look into the local newsletter, I'm really reminded. I'm reminded that there's still a long way to go. Because your neighbors, your peers, your community members may do things completely different from you. They may do things in a deplorable way, ways that you would never approach things. And that's okay. That's okay. You may hate the way they hold a hammer. You may not like the anvil that they decided to buy or the way that they lay out their shop. But in the end, all of that's fine, as long as you can still look at a piece of work and find the beauty in it. So a while back, I had a chance to work with a really talented integrated technologist, and he was absolutely amazing at problem solving. He was also very fond of pointing out that you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's a very true statement. And if you're isolated, that's very true about you. But this is one of the great functions of community. You can see in others what you don't know. You see it in the masters around you. So over the weekend, I was just kind of sitting around thinking about that. I mean, what a really powerful aspect of community. I had never really put it that way before, that it's actually being able to look around and see the things that you would have never thought of reflected in the people around you, the things that they figured out that you may have gone your entire lifetime and never seen or never been able to accomplish. And maybe you don't. Maybe you don't learn how to do that particular technique, but it's still really interesting to think of the type of knowledge that's built by community that's not the type of knowledge you would ever synthesize for yourself. And I was thinking about this as I was sitting around the John C. Campbell Folk School in North Carolina. A really beautiful, picturesque shop. I know I bring it up a lot, and I think it's absolutely a wonderful place. But they have an annual meeting there where they host in blacksmiths on the weekend leading up to their art auction for the community. Now, in previous Iron Concepts, I've talked about art auctions, and I've talked a lot about the folk school, so I'm going to kind of avoid those two topics. Instead, I want to talk about how that there were 100 people or more there the night before. It was an amazing, picturesque forge with its doors absolutely open, crawling with talent, and some of the most beautiful things you can imagine being forged in a very short period of time. There were beginners and masters shoulder to shoulder, forging all kinds of cool stuff that would go on to be bid on at the auction the next day. And as you can imagine, there were some there that, like my wife and myself, had figured out what to make on the ride there, right? But then there were others who, using this as like friendly competition and a little bit of one-upping, had been figuring out what to make for months in advance, practicing and rehearsing it, had prepped pieces ahead of time for this, and come together as a group to assemble them. And really, I almost felt guilty jumping into a forge and starting to forge something. I actually just wanted to sort of step back, go upstairs, and look down from the balcony and watch all of this amazing stuff being made. I did get to forge some. I forged for a few hours, but I really enjoyed getting to look around. And it's really amazing every time that a community of craftsmen come together, how it pushes everyone to work harder in a way that you wouldn't without your peers. And I think a lot of that has to do with the knowledge that's gained, looking around to seeing what people are working on, what people are doing that you wouldn't do, but also looking around and seeing that nobody else does it the same way that you do either. And for me, I think that's the best part about being part of a community. Well, that and the free beer and food too. So that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed all the pictures from the meeting. As a closer, I've included a slow motion video of what I can only describe as a masterful drop the tongs weld. You can see in the crisp and efficient movements that Ron Howard makes as he flawlessly places these two pieces together and reaches for his hammer, that only a lifetime of experience can grant this kind of skill. It's inspiring. I appreciate you watching. If you have any thoughts, leave me a comment or shoot me an email. Until next week, thanks and bye.